Welcome everybody to the session today. Hope you're feeling well and hope you're feeling a little bit better after this session with me today. So as we always do at the start of our session, we're going to slow the pace down a little bit and focus on the breath. So no thoughts yet to posture or anything like that. Just allow your eyes to drift closed and just begin to notice your breathing. So in Pilates, we talk about lateral thoracic breathing. So by that I mean you're allowing the chest wall to expand east-west as you breathe in, and then relax back inwards as you breathe out. So rather than the shoulders lifting up and down, your chest will just expand outwards. And as you breathe out each time, allow the shoulders to relax. Either breathing in and out through the nose or in through the nose and out through the mouth, whatever feels right for you. And now let's extend that breath cycle. Taking a longer, deeper breath in. And then a nice long exhale. So if it helps to count in the breath, breathing in for the count of 4. And breathing out for the count of 4 or 5. Let's take one more breath. And as you breathe out, gently float your eyes open. So we focus on the breath at the start of the session, just to get an idea of what the movements are going to be like to the flow of the breath. Let's just check in and see what our posture is like now today. So you're standing with your feet about a fist distance apart. I start the sessions always in standing because I'm hugely interested in posture and improving posture the longer we live, and just maintaining good spine position and good shoulder position when we do so much anymore in seated. So starting with the feet, feel those feet connected to the floor. So you can either be on your mat or off your mat, whichever you feel most comfortable for you. We're coming up towards the knees. So the knees are soft, they're not bent and they're not locked. There's just a softness to them. Come on up now to the hip joints. Take those forward ever so slightly. So you're lengthening here in front, gently stretching, gently opening there. Stretching and lengthening your hip flexors. Now let's stretch the spine. So you're lengthening upwards in the spine. Feel like you're growing a little bit taller. And then take the shoulders nice and wide. Think of the collarbones here at the front really, rather than your shoulder blades at the back. So we're just letting everything stretch outwards and feel that lengthening across your chest as you do. And then you're standing nice and tall upwards again in your neck. So without taking the chin upwards, which we kind of feel we need to do to stand nice and tall, think instead of lengthening your neck at the back, that part of your spine at the back. It's nice and long. Now come back in here to your center, draw your core gently back towards your spine behind. So as you do that, just feel the mild contraction, and now notice what the posture feels like as you're standing. Is there a little bit of a difference to the way you were at the start? So every now and again throughout your day, no harm to check in and see, what's my posture like? Either in seated or in standing position, because your spine is what we're thinking about. If you want to engage pelvic floor muscles at any point, imagine you're zipping up a pair of jeans and draw up the pelvic floor muscles as you breathe in, and then let them go as you breathe out. Breathing in, we're drawing them up. Breathing out, we're letting go. Let's do one more. Breathing in and gently breathing out. Let's move the body gently. Breathing in, extend your arms upwards and stand nice and tall. Breathing out, gently lower back down towards the front. Once again, breathe in and breathe out. Let's do one more. Breathe in and breathe out. And now as your hands come to the side, let's gently stretch the side, slowly going into flexion of the spine, side to side. So what we do at the start of our session here is move the spine particularly in different directions. We'll move other joints as well, but that's kind of our focus, a small little bit. Let's do one more. And now as you have that hand up, take the same side foot behind and continue with your stretch to the side and just get that lengthening all down your side, across your hip joint and down your leg. And slowly return. Let's swap sides. You're taking the foot behind, same side, hand up, and you're reaching over, stretching everything down the outside of your hip. Kind of feel like you're pushing the hip joint out a little bit if that feels comfortable for you. And slowly return. Hands down by the side. Breathing in, let's come up onto the toes. Breathing out and lower back down. Maybe lots of little clicks or cracks in the ankle joints, all good. And come on back down. So we're slowly going into just a movement where we're moving everything across your feet. You'll feel your calf muscles working. Let's do one more. And now when you come down, bend your knees, bend your hips, and allow your hands to drift behind. Then come back up to standing. Take your hands nice and wide, going into slight back extension, tilting backwards. Come on back in again. And gently extend. Let's do one more. Back to center and lower. And gently out to the side. And now bring your hands back in front to nice, good spine position. So you're standing nice and tall. Take your attention to your feet for a second, keeping them nice and flat. Breathing in as you rotate to the right. Breathing out as you gently come back to center. Continue breathing in and breathing out. Continuing side to side. So the reason why I said notice your feet is that you're keeping your feet nice and flat. They're not tilting in any way as you go side to side. So we're getting a stretch across our back, moving the spine into circle and slowly lower. Let's make a fist of both of your hands, place them here into your lower back, take your shoulders back and your elbows back. So our focus here is stretching across your front, across your chest and into your shoulders, again because we have so much movement in forward position that it's good to stretch the front and take the shoulders wide and gently lower. Let's do our balance challenge in standing position. So feet down from your hips this time, so they'll be slightly further apart if you're a female doing the class. Flow the weight of the body over towards the right foot and come up onto the toes of the left. Hands gently by your side. Let's adjust the posture now. Draw the core in, lengthen your spine, breathing in to begin, breathing out. Float the foot slightly off the floor to begin with and bending your elbows, breathing in as you return. Breathing out as you lift. Breathing in, return. Notice the muscles in the other leg really engage to help you maintain your balance. So again, you could be standing beside something, a chair or side of the couch or something like that, if that gives you a sense of security that you can put your hand on that if you wish. And come on back down. Let's do one more and we're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and relax. We're done. Swapping to the other foot. So again, your feet are hip distance apart. Sway the weight of the body towards your left foot. We're coming up onto the toes of the right. Good posture again. Now what I'll suggest here is, as you lift your knee, I'd like you to think about drawing up your pelvic floor muscles. So hands by your side, breathing in to begin, breathing out, we're lifting. Can you pull up your pelvic floor a little bit? And breathing in, return. Breathing out, draw up the pelvic floor as your knee gently lifts and lower back down. And pulling up your pelvic floor might just help with a sense of stability, that you kind of feel you're really engaging another muscle group to help you maintain your balance. And let's do one more. We're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax down. So if you feel your balance is challenged when we're doing the likes of this, no harm to try that during the day if you're waiting for the kettle to boil or something like that. Then just stand on one leg and hold it for as long as you can, if you possibly can, switching from one leg to the other. Let's come down onto the floor. So you're standing at the back of your mat. Let's do a little bit of roll down movement. So the focus on roll down, and the reason for roll down, is to move the spine, what we call sequential movement of the bones in your back, all the vertebrae in your spine. So you're standing nice and tall. Lengthen the shoulders out, draw your core gently in, and gently tilt your chin forward, stretching the back of the neck. Now lengthen your spine, taking your back to wherever you can, bending the knees if you wish, if hamstrings at the back of your leg, and if your glutes feel a little bit tight, or your lower back, and then pushing your feet towards the floor. Let's come on up to standing, straightening the knees, taking the hips forward, lengthening the spine, taking the shoulders wide. Let's do one more. We're coming forward, gently stretch everything. Again, just see how you're feeling today. If everything feels a little bit tight today, then just work with that. And now coming forward from there, let's do our stretch for our spine first before we come down onto the floor for our swimming movement. So knees are under hips and hands are under shoulders. Let's push the floor away and arch your spine upwards towards the ceiling. Now if you have an issue here with your wrist joints, you can come up onto your fists and still do that movement. So whichever feels most comfortable for you for your wrist joints. Holding that curved position in your spine, slowly begin to move your hips back towards your feet, very slowly now, and notice that gentle extra stretch in the lower back particularly. Lengthen everything as you go back, feel that stretching. Now tiptoe the fingers forward a little bit if that feels comfortable on your shoulders, and then come back up from there slowly, gently, bringing your hands back in underneath your shoulders. Let's arch in the other direction towards the floor and look forward. So our kind of cat-cow stretch. Let's do one more. Push the floor away. Arch your spine upwards. As much as you can now, push your hands into the floor. Now, slowly in that position, take your hips back towards your feet, gently stretching everything. And again, tiptoeing the fingers forward if it feels comfortable, just to kind of get that extra bit of a stretch and to challenge the shoulder joints a small little bit as well. And now coming back out from there, hands back in under your shoulders and arch towards the floor, and let's go into the other side of this stretch. And now coming from there, lengthen yourself fully onto the floor. So feet are slightly apart. We're going to do swimming here. So flatten your foot if you can here. So kind of you're getting that lengthening across your foot. Place your hands on the floor here or on your mat. You're going to place one hand on top of the other. You're going to gently draw your core back from the floor, like there's something in under there you don't want to squish. So before we place our forehead in our hands, take your attention to your right hip joint and imagine you're gluing that hip joint to the floor, including the right leg. Now rest your forehead down on your hands, breathing in to begin. Breathing out, take your left leg off the floor. Keep the other side glued and slowly return, breathing in. Breathing out, we're lifting. Breathing in, we're returning. So the reason we say about gluing that other hip and that other leg to the mat is that we don't want to tilt.
So you're going to work the glute muscles and the muscles of the legs on the left leg more as a result. Let's do 2 more. Breathing out, breathing in, return, drawing the core away from your mat. Last one, breathing out and breathing in. Now, as you lower that foot to the floor, you're going to glue that hip joint now and that leg. Switching to the other side, breathing in to begin, breathing out, you're taking the other leg off the floor and breathing in, return. Again, we're drawing the core gently in as we lift and lower the leg. Relax the shoulders, breathing out, breathing in. Let's do 2 more. Breathing out, breathing in. And last one, draw the core gently away from your mat and return. Let's place our 2 hands at our shoulders. Push yourself back. Take the knees wide but feet together and sit yourself back towards your feet, lengthening your hands in front if you can. But if that's a little bit of a challenge on the shoulders, bring your 2 hands back. Make a fist of one, a fist of the other, sit one on top of the other, and just rest the forehead there. Whichever again feels most comfortable, but we're getting a stretch on the lower back here. Now if your hands are long in front, walk your hands over to the left and stretch the lower right side of your back. If you're on your 2 fists, then just move the shoulders in one direction just to stretch everything in the opposite side. Walk the hands back into center and over to the other side and gently lengthen that side of your spine. And coming back in from there, come up briefly onto your knees. And now if you have any issues with your knee joints in this position here, you could roll your mat back or you could put a cushion underneath. Step well forward with one foot. So foot is forward of the knee so that when we come forward, it's easier on this knee joint here, and we're stretching this one here at the back. So we're lengthening the foot behind again just to get a stretch across the front of the leg. So you're just gently propping yourself up. And then slowly come back from there, switch sides. So the other knee goes down, flattening your foot behind again if you can. Step forward and ease forward. Again, gently open this hip joint. May not be the same as the other. We kind of assume sometimes that both sides of the body are the same. And when we go to do a stretch or a movement, it can often point it out to us that they're not actually. And slowly return. So our next movement is going to be in a box swimming position. So your hands are under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. Let's do a couple of movements on the spine first, just to get our neutral spine position. Arch your back away from the floor and then arch it towards the floor. Once more, arch away from the floor, arch it towards the floor, and now come back into the middle between the 2 of those, and there's your neutral spine. So we're going to do a movement here to work the shoulders, but we're going to try and keep the rest of the body steady. So I'll demonstrate to begin with. So we're going to take the right hand forward, out to the side, back forward again, and back down onto the floor. So breathing in to begin, breathing out, take the hand forward, breathing into the side, breathing out, return forward, breathing in, we lower. Once again, same side, hand forward, out to the side, back forward position, and we're lowering back down. Let's do 2 more. We're not tilting this to the side if we can possibly avoid it. So as you move your right hand, you're not tilting over to the left. Last one. So we're getting movement in the shoulder joint here. We're drawing the core in and lower that hand down. Let's switch sides. Breathing in, take the hand forward. Breathing out, take it around to the side. Breathing in, return to the front. Breathing out, return. Once again, breathing forward with the hand, out to the side, back forward in front, and lower back down. Let's do 2 more. Once again, we're not, if we can avoid it anyway, we're not actually tilting over the other direction. Let's do one more. We're strengthening the wrist joint of the arm that's on the floor because it's kind of taking your upper body weight, isn't it, as you're holding this position. Let's get a little bit of a stretch on the back again. So bring the knees forward ever so slightly. Sit back towards your feet, hands down by your side if you can, or again, one fist on top of the other and rest your forehead there, whichever feels most comfortable, and just get another little bit of a stretch in your lower back. And breathe. And now coming up from there, bring yourself into side lying position. We're going to do side bend. And as I often say, use the back of your mat as a guide as to where to be. So your elbow, your hips and your feet are going to be in line with the back of your mat. Bend on your knee joints, bend in your hip joints. We're conscious we're not sinking in here, so we're not kind of falling down like that. Keep yourself nice and strong through your spine. Shoulders are wide. Nose is in line with your navel, if that makes sense. So we're never going to be tilting like this while we move the body. You're drawing your core gently in. Tent your fingers in front here initially for support. Breathing in to begin. Breathing out, float your hips up off the floor. Breathing in, slowly return. So it's a nice gentle movement. So we're strengthening shoulder joints here as we lift and lower. Breathing out, lift. Breathing in, return. You can take the hand away if you want to challenge it another little bit. Breathing out, breathing in, return. Let's do two more. Breathing out, breathing in. Last one, breathing out and breathing in. Well done. Let's come up off of that elbow and shoulder. That can be a bit of a challenge. And let's come into our Z-sit position. So you're propping yourself up nice and tall with your hand to the side. Let's take this one out. Lengthen it upwards first. Bend this one and gently go over. So get that lengthening down your side. A nice stretch from your shoulder joint across your rib cage and down towards your hip joint. And then come back up from there. Place that hand down on your ankle joint here. So it's kind of helping you to sit up nice and tall. Take the other hand out, reach up with it. So this might be enough for you today if you're kind of feeling, like you can't maybe go in this direction too far. But using your other hand here at the side, draw yourself across a little bit. So you're going against the joints here, so you won't go terribly far, but it's just again challenging joints by putting them into different positions. And slowly place your hand back down. Let's get a stretch on the hip joint. This hand now in front of your open shin. We're keeping the shoulders wide. We're folding from the center, bringing our core towards our leg rather than rounding our shoulders. So focus here is get that stretch on the hip joint at the back. Gently, gently lengthen everything. Nice, easy stretch. And now see if you can go a fraction further, tiny bit further. As everything has lengthened, it might just let you go a little bit further. And come on back up. Take your 2 feet out in front and wide of each other. So let's do a little bit of a hip twist movement. So place your hands here behind you. So kind of tented fingers, still sitting up nice and tall. Flop the 2 knees over to the right. Bring them back up, flop them to the left. So we're just getting movement in the hip joint, flop them. So place the hands flat if it's a little bit easier rather than on tented fingers. And now if you can, take the hands away and you're going from side to side. So we're flopping and you might find that you're walking on your mat with this one. Side to side. Let's do one more each direction. That's it. And lower. Well done. Let's set up for the other side of side bend. So you're bringing yourself to bent knees position, bent hips, and again you're using the back of your mat as a guide as to where, if you're in a nice straight position. So feet, hips and elbows should be in a straight line. We're conscious of our nose being in line with our navel. We're not collapsing here in the center. We're very conscious we're kind of keeping ourselves up rather than sinking down. We're drawing our core in, shoulders are wide, tent your fingers in front. Breathing in to begin, breathing out, lift. Breathing in, return. Breathing out, lift. Breathing in, return. Let's do 3 more. Taking the hand away if you wish. Lift, and now slowly back down. So you never kind of plonk back down onto the mat. You're very conscious that you're controlling the movement, and what you're doing is you're using your core to control the return and slowly return. Let's come into our Z-sit position on this side. So hand out here to the side, other hand is lengthened upwards, gently bending the elbow, stretch over. Again, getting a nice stretch from your shoulder joint down across your rib cage and down towards your hip joint. And then slowly come back up, switch and place that hand down there on your ankle joint, still sitting nice and tall, and take this one up. So reach up first, and then see if you can reach across. Again, just see where you go. We're challenging again by going in different directions, moving the joints in different, positioning the joints in different directions. And slowly back down. Place that hand on the floor, other one in front. Excuse me, place the hand on the floor there. Now we're bringing our core towards our leg, rather than the shoulders rounding forward. Keep the shoulders wide and fold from your center and come forward. Gently, gently stretch. The hip joint is small a little bit. And again, we're holding for a couple of seconds, and then we'll see if we can go fractionally further. So now see if you can go just a tiny bit further. Ease into it. And slowly return. Well done. Take your feet out and bring yourself into lying down position. Let's get a stretch on the hip joints here. So step the 2 feet wide of each other and flop your 2 knees to the right. Let's go to the right first. So we're stretching everything on the left hip joint, and then we're going to take the left hand up, straight up past our head, lengthening everything down your side just a little bit more, while we focus on keeping that left shoulder as close as we can to the floor. Then lower that hand by your side, bring the 2 knees back up. Feet are still wide now, off the mat if you even want to go that distance, and flop them to the other side, knees to the other side. So the wider you have your feet, the more of a stretch you're going to get on the right hip now. Let's take the right hand up behind us, excuse me, and stretch everything again down your side, from the shoulder down towards the hip. And slowly return your hands. Let's finish with a couple of shoulder bridge movements. Let's set up for shoulder bridge. So with shoulder bridge, we're going to be working glute muscles, we're going to be working muscles of the legs and on the core. Let's relax the shoulders and slide your shoulder blades down the mat. Hands are long by your side. You're drawing your core gently in, conscious of the little bit of a curve you have in your lower back. Just take your attention to that for a second and just see what that is for you. We're bringing our feet slightly closer to our glutes to support the body as we lift, and our feet are about the hip distance apart. They're not together. Breathing in to begin, breathing out, round your lower back to the floor, lift your hips, press your feet into the floor, coming up into shoulder bridge movement. And now breathing in here, breathing out, come up onto the toes. Breathing in, return, keep those hips up. Breathing out, lift the heels, breathing in, return. Let's do one more. Breathing out, we're lifting. Breathing in, we're lowering. Now start at the top of your back and slowly return your spine back down onto the floor. Nice and slow. Curve appears in your lower back. Your hips are back down. Let's do 2 more. We're rounding the lower back. Press your feet into the floor. Let's lift the hips up. Let's come up onto the shoulders. Now either holding this position here or breathing in to begin. Breathing out, lift your heels. Breathing in, return. Breathing out, lift. Breathing in, return. Last one. Breathing out, lift. Breathing in, return. And starting at the top of your back, slowly return your spine back down onto the floor. Let's do one more. Curve has appeared in your back and your hips are down.
Breathing in to begin. Breathing out, round your back, press your feet in. Watch those knees now, they're not wandering off. Coming up into the shoulders, breathing in to begin. Breathing out, lift your heels. Breathing in, return. Let's do 2 more. Lifting the heels and lowering. Last one, lift the heels and lowering. Now start at the top of your back. Slowly return your spine, 1 bone at a time, back down onto the floor. Let's gently draw both knees into the chest and rock from side to side. Get that nice gentle stretch in your lower back and give your lower back a little bit of a massage as you do. Breathe. And now placing the 2 feet back down, let's place the right ankle on the left knee and gently push the knee away to begin with, just to open the hip joint a small little bit, conscious that we're not pushing too far if it's uncomfortable, but just holding that distance there a little bit. And now switching your 2 hands to your shin and draw it in towards your chest, lifting the other foot off the floor as well, just to kind of assist in the pull in. So we're stretching, this is a piriformis stretch. We're stretching that muscle across your glutes on this right side of your hip joints. And slowly return. Swapping sides, place the 2 feet back down. Place your left ankle on your right knee. Gently push the left knee away with your left hand. Just gently stretching everything again around the hip joint. And now repositioning your 2 hands onto your shin, gently guide it in towards your chest. The other leg off the floor again if you just want an assist, just to gently pull in. And now lowering your 2 feet to the floor, lengthen your 2 legs as far as they'll go, point your toes. Take your hands behind your head and reach in each direction. Get a nice full body stretch along your center, down towards your hip joints. And now pointing your toes upwards towards the ceiling. Take your hands straight out to the side. So we're getting a nice stretch across the chest and we are lengthening everything at the back of your legs. And now taking a breath in. As you breathe out, allow everything to relax. So for just a couple of moments as we finish here, let's once again take our attention to our breath. You can stay as you are, lying down with your feet flopped out, palms faced up or palms face down, or you can come to seated or kneeling. And we'll finish our session again with a focus on the breath. Thanks everybody for joining me today. Allowing your eyes to drift closed. Begin to notice your breath. As you breathe in, allow the chest to drift wide as you do. And as you breathe out, allow it to come back into center. And each time you breathe out, allow the shoulders to soften. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out.